time for the Great British Debate this hour, and I'm asking, should Sir Keir Starmer U-turn on winter fuel payments? That's what the PM is apparently considering after the policy was blamed for the government's absolutely bruising local election losses. Options on the table include raising the means-tested threshold or scrapping means testing altogether, so eligible pensioners can claim the cash as before. So, for the Great British Debate this hour, I'm asking, should Sir Keir Starmer U-turn on the winter fuel payment? Joining me is broadcaster and columnist Lizzie Cundy and the political activist Chris Worrall. Good afternoon. Apparently I said good morning a minute ago, so apologies for that.
Yeah. You've had one of those nights.
Long night, yeah.
Haven't had my coffee yet. Here we go. Got my coffee in hand. Chris, let's start with you. Keir Starmer, will he U-turn on it, and should he?
No, he shouldn't. And I think the reason for being for that is, we've had enough of subsidising the well-off pensioners at the end of the day. We can't be saying, all these people that have been going, on winter cruises and all this sort of stuff, when some of us, the amount of tax on young working families right now is a struggle, and yet we're not going to be here paying that.
Chris, you can't say all pensioners in Britain go on winter cruises.
No, but those
have their winter.
Those that do.
What are you talking about?
No, but those that do. The thing is, it's means tested, right? If you've got a 5-bedroom house and a wine cellar, you shouldn't be getting £300 because who's paying for that? It's all right with other people's money at the end of the day.
But there are many that aren't, that, and we've stripped tens of millions of pensioners from their winter fuel allowance. It's a disgrace. And they know it's a disgrace because, you know what, in the local elections, no one voted for them. No one knew about this, and they're desperate to win back voters. And you know what, he's going to U-turn because he's king of the flip-flops, isn't he?
It's a generational protection racket, and we've got like Donna Pensioni over here sort of fighting for him, but we can't be making out that means testing benefits is a bad thing.
But I'm sorry, Chris, by Labour's own research, your party's own research, when the Tories were in government, up to 4,000 pensioners would die as a result of the winter fuel allowance being taken away. Keir Starmer stood up in Parliament, squared Rishi Sunak in his eyes, to the face, and said, you are plotting to remove the winter fuel allowance. This, by our own research, will kill 4,000 pensioners. So what's changed? Do you agree with that research? Was he making it up?
You've got pension credit is taken up as a result, right? And I think it's about 63% now, 65%. If it goes up to 74% of take-up of all the eligible pensioners, we're going to wipe out all those savings. It's £5 billion that's meant to be by 2030. We've got to make it. It's at 300 billion is the welfare bill in a minute. Our income tax is 300 billion. Something's got to give. And if you're going to means test the richest ones, that's perfectly fine by me.
Your own party, you're facing a Labour rebellion with this. There's so many are against this. Can you not see what it's doing? You're supposed to be the party that cares. He looks like the opposite to me. And you know what he's doing? He's only doing this because he did so badly in those local elections, and he saw how well Reform UK did, and he's thinking, right, what can I do? You know what he needs to do? He needs to sack Rachel Reeves, and he needs to go himself. But before that, call a general election and let's get Nigel Farage in.
It's cash for those who actually need it, Liz, at the end of the day, and we've got to make sure, there might be a sort of slight change on the threshold about who's eligible for it.
Sorry, Chris. You're talking about protecting generations of people.
Comfy pensioners getting money is not on my watch.
Comfy.
But those ones are protected. If you've got a PIP, you're 11.5 grand, you get it. There's a debate around what level that should go to. Fine, but we're talking about you're not going to send Harrods gift cards.
Would you be open to increasing the threshold then?
Sorry?
You'd be open to increasing the threshold?
Look, my personal opinion is that, the benefits bill has gone up with inflation. You've got a triple lock.
And that's not because of pensioners?
You've got a triple lock.
It's not because of pensioners. It's because of people who aren't working.
But who's paying for it?
Who aren't working.
It's our generation. Are you happy to pay for people who are earning 100 grand for getting...
But that's very few people, Chris.
It's a small percentage you're talking about.
You've got £8 billion worth of fraud in universal credit. And we've got things...
It's not from pensioners.
It's not from pensioners.
It's not from pensioners, but we've got...
Doris from Bognor isn't sitting in her tiny one-bed flat fiddling the DWP and her universal
credit. There's quite a few people fiddling the DWP. We've got to crack down on that too.
Basic economics, and sadly Labour haven't got any idea of that. I'm sorry.
Well, we're cutting the benefits bill to make sure...
She shouldn't be in a job. She's out for debt. She worked at the Halifax. Nothing wrong with that. But she's not up for the job. Let's be honest.
By the way,
fiscal responsibility.
And if they U-turn on this, she needs to go.
It's fiscal responsibility. It doesn't sound like we've got much.
Right, I'm going to bring in a pensioner. I've got a pensioner, a GB News viewer, a loyal viewer on the line. But before I go, Chris, I'll just say to you, pensioners, if any group in this country should be protected, it's the elderly, because they have grafted for decades and decades to build this nation to where it is today, to enjoy the privileges that you enjoy today as a Brit in this country. These aren't just some people you can just palm off because you think they're rich or because they don't deserve it.
If you've got savings in a second
They have
home,
built this country, they've grafted, they've raised families, they've worked jobs, they've contributed to the economy through their work, they've invested, they've made this country.
It's intergenerational
and
fairness.
Starmer said he's for the working people. They have worked all their lives, and this is how you treat them.
It's not cruel, it's just correct.
Disgrace.
It's not cruel, it's correct.
All right, let's hear from somebody who matters, which is GB News viewer and pensioner Anita Atkinson from Durham. Anita, thank you for holding there whilst we debated amongst ourselves. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. What's your take on the winter fuel allowance policy? Have you been affected, first of all?
Oh, yes, I've been affected. I'm a pensioner. Yes, I've been affected. And actually, I've never, ever in the whole of my life, and I've worked all my life, and I have brought up 3 children. I'm now a grandparent to 5 children. All of my children work. My husband works. I worked. And I've never been on benefits in my life. But I did hear one day how the pensions were classed as a benefit. I don't want the benefit if that's what it is. I don't want your winter fuel allowance if you're going to class that as a benefit. I've worked my way through life. All of my family have. And I'm still working now, actually. But
You're still
I
working?
do it for free. And do you know what? I worked 22 years as a newspaper editor without a holiday, 7 days a week, no holiday. I went away, but I was never off duty. I worked all that time. I'm better off, actually, as a pensioner.
Yeah.
But
Anita, they don't make them like you anymore, let me tell you, especially as a newspaper editor, which is no easy task. Local newspapers, what's the remit?
Yeah, it was a local community newspaper that I worked for on minimum wage. I think I maybe got paid 28 hours a week. I certainly worked between 60 and 80 hours a week. I wrote 60 to 80 newspaper stories every 2 weeks. And to class my pension as a benefit is an absolute disgrace. I paid tax all that time. I paid national insurance all that time. I've never had a benefit in my life. But do you know, Ben, countries, societies, they're judged on how they treat their most vulnerable.
Yep.
So what does that say about our country?
Finally, what would you like to say to Chris Worrall here? He says you pensioners are just a bunch of rich, entitled people who don't deserve any help.
The rich one.
Well, I tell you what, Chris, I actually feel rich now because of the pension, because I get more pension than I do ever working for a wage, and I never once had 1 day's sick. I never had 1 day's holiday in all of that time. But do you know what you're talking about? The winter fuel allowance is given to families on low incomes. These are families that are working, Chris. They're working and they still can't afford to heat their homes in the winter. You're a disgrace.
Would you like to...
Disgrace.
Well, you know, I'll tell you what, Anita, when you've got 2 people working 60-hour weeks, struggling to afford nappies and you're getting taxed the way we are, you've got to talk about intergenerational fairness. We're not talking about the vulnerable. We're talking about the rich, 5-bedroom owning, wine-cellared, well-off, not getting the winter cruise allowance, and that is the main thing.
What is this about the cruise? It's a small percentage.
To protecting the vulnerable.
You go and live with Anita for a week.
My nan's
and you see what it's like.
OK, Anita...